and another season comes to an end. Welcome back, everyone. The final game of the Stanley Cup final. We know for sure now. Florida repeats as Stanley Cup champions in their third straight Stanley Cup final. They defeat the Edmonton Oilers 5-1 in Game 6. 4 seasons on this channel now we have covered, and 4 seasons have concluded. The champions since then. I started this channel when 32 teams came into the league. Seattle had just come in, and then we had Colorado win it, we had Vegas win it, we had Florida win it, and now we've had Florida win it again. Series, at first, it looked a lot closer than the year before, and then you realize it was actually a lot farther off than you realize. We'll go back to 2024. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3. 3-0, 4-1, 4-3 Florida. They're up 3-0. Games 4, 5, and 6, Edmonton wins 8-1, 5-3, 5-1. They actually looked like a better team in a lot of those games. Game 7, Florida wins 2-1, and McDavid was vowed for revenge. That was something that was clear. McDavid was on a revenge tour, especially with the way that season went for the Oilers, and 2025 rolls around. This year, it looked like anyone could win the Cup, which I think benefited Florida since they were the defending champions. When it doesn't look like there's a surefire, guaranteed winner, like, for example, in the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder this year. If you thought anyone else was winning the championship, I don't know who. I mean, Game 6 is tonight. Cross my fingers that they win tonight to pull it off, but I don't know if anyone who said OKC is not going to win it all. Not one person do I know that said OKC is not winning it all. And the fact that Indiana's pushed them to at least 6, props to Indiana. I mean, I have full respect because I thought you were going to get swept. That's beside the point. No guaranteed winner in the NHL's eyes this year. I picked Tampa because I thought, maybe that the series goes the other way. Florida was coming off a lot of injuries. And, of course, Florida ends up going all the way. So, Game 1, Edmonton wins 4-3 in overtime, but Florida blew a 3-1 lead. And Game 2, this is the game right here that decides the series. 5-4 in double overtime. Brad Marchand gets the winner. Of course, Draisaitl wins the game in Game 1. Marchand with the winner in double overtime of Game 2. If the Oilers win that game, I think they win the Cup. I fully believe that Marchand is the sole reason the Panthers. Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but the Panthers. That his goal is the sole reason the Panthers were able to do what they did in Games 5 and 6, and were all right with losing Game 4. Game 3, Panthers come out. They win 6-1. Looked like, oh boy, Florida might get started. But then Game 4, Edmonton is down 3-0. They come back and they win that game in overtime once again off Draisaitl 5-4. So it's a 2-2 series headed back to Edmonton. Edmonton has all the momentum after the comeback win. And then they don't look like a real team that belonged to the same arena as the Panthers the last 2 games. 5-2 and 5-1 wins for Florida in Games 5 and 6. They win it at home for the second straight year. Edmonton even had home ice, but as I said, home ice does not matter. I will die on that hill. And Edmonton's now got a lot of questions. Draisaitl's extension kicks in. Bouchard needs a contract. McDavid is up next season. Where's this cap space going to come from? I know it's cap's jumping by about $6 million this offseason. That covers Draisaitl's extension. Doesn't cover Bouchard. McDavid? I mean, the cap's going to jump more, but that's a lot of depth that's going to be gone. I mean, Jeff Skinner, is he going to be gone? Is Connor Brown? I mean, there's a number of guys on that team that are probably not coming back. So, we'll go over the game now. That's enough of talking about the series and the teams overall. First period, 15-24, Florida scores early, and it's Sam Reinhart who is in for a career night. 2 of his goals are empty netters, but still, in the Stanley Cup final, what a performance. 8th of the postseason from unassisted to make it 1-0. And with 47 seconds to go in the first, Matthew Tkachuk, 8th of the playoffs from Luosterainen and Lundell, 2-0 Panthers going into the second period. The stadium is rocking. Second period, the dagger. 2:29, Florida scores, and it's Sam Reinhart with his 9th of the playoffs. Second of the game from Barkov and Verhaeghe, 3-0, and right there, I called the game. I knew right then and there Edmonton wasn't coming back, and as the third wore on, it just became even more clear. 6:34, Florida gets an empty netter. Edmonton does whatever they could. Knobloch decides to pull the goalie. And Sam Reinhart picks up the hat trick, his 10th of the playoffs from Barkov and Verhaeghe, same exact assist partners. 4-0 Panthers. A minute and a half later, the Oilers, they got nothing to lose. They pull the goalie again. And another empty netter for Sam Reinhart. His 4th goal of the game. I think first since Babe Dye in 1919 was the graphic on the screen to have 4 goals in a Stanley Cup final game. That's his 11th of the playoffs from Verhaeghe and Ekblad. So Verhaeghe with 3 assists on the night. 5-0 Panthers. And then about 20 seconds later, Edmonton gets their goal. It's Vasily Podkolzin off a rebound. 3rd of the playoffs from Wallman and Brown to make it 5-1, but that was the game. The cup gets passed around. Of course, Marchand is the big one that wins his 2nd cup. But Carter Verhaeghe now has 3 Stanley Cups as well, so he joins an elite club that not a lot of players have. Of course, Pat Maroon's retiring. Jonathan Toews is currently inactive, but he may be coming back. So that means Malkin, Crosby, Fleury's retiring, Letang, and of course Kane. Trying to think, is there anyone else with 3 Stanley Cups left? Because I can't think of anyone. I mean, Maroon's retiring, Fleury's retiring. Yeah. So Verhaeghe joins an elite club there. Skinner saves 20 out of 23. Of course, Florida fans were chanting Skinner. There was nothing really tonight that I could blame on him. The team came out flat, and the first goal went in, and it was a beautiful move by Reinhart. That's kind of what happened. Bobrovsky, 28 out of 29 saves. He was my runner-up for the Conn Smythe. My top 3 was Bennett, Bobrovsky, and then Marchand. And Bennett ends up winning it. And that's kind of like a Jonathan Marchessault kind of win. Like, everyone kind of expected Eichel to win it since he's kind of the star player. Marchessault's kind of the second guy, and he led the playoffs in goals that year. Same thing here. Bennett gets the Conn Smythe, kind of in the same role as Marchessault was with Vegas. Shots were 29-25 Edmonton. Hits were 29-28 Edmonton. Faceoffs 28-25 Florida. No penalties in the entire game. Well, at least no power plays. Because Evander Kane got ejected late in the game for slashing Kachuk pretty good. And, Seth Jones is a Stanley Cup champion, as every Blackhawks fan cried themselves to sleep last night. I didn't, but that's all right. Other former Blackhawks to win the Cup. Forsling gets his 2nd. Good for him. I'm not sure if Jacob Magno will get his name on the Stanley Cup, but you know what? If he does, that's pretty cool. And another season in the books. So, of course, we'll do a review of the series. We'll do a review of the playoffs. And then we're deep into the offseason, of which I'll talk about what we're going to be doing over the next couple days. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video, and I shall see you all in the next one. Have a good one.